Hello, we're playing Greatest Attorney. Hello, hi Audi, hi Tim. We're playing more Great Ace Attorney. My nose is running. It's always running, I feel like. Well, it's cold outside today. Very cold. It's like 30 degrees. And I'm like, where's the 70-degree weather? It's coming though, I noticed. Almost didn't stream today. I've been grumpy, but I said I'll get over it. I think. Oh my god, the internet? Really? Really? I did a 20-minute stream bandwidth test, and now the internet wants to be acting funny? Really? Really? We played 9 doors, 9 persons, 9 hours, or whatever it's called. What the heck? My internet, sorry. Making me mad. No, I have not played that. I've never even heard of that. I feel like, I don't know a lot of games. Is it a board game? Or a card game? Or is it actually like a game? Or I don't want to say actually like a game, like a video game. Yeah, I almost didn't stream today. I've been, I think, a little manic because I've been angry, irritable, impulsive. Trying to control the impulsiveness has been very hard, but I don't know. Maybe I should not raw dog life anymore. Another mystery puzzle solving. Ooh, I will keep that in my little brain. And there's gore. Gore. Need my hand lotion. My hands are really dry. But yeah, we're gonna play more of this on my Twitter. And I haven't posted it on Ko-fi because Ko-fi keeps logging me out. It's been a pain in my ass to keep logging into Ko-fi. I hate doing it. I'm like, stop logging me out. But on my Twitter and Tumblr and art Instagram, I posted a drawing of Van Zeek's I Let the Intrusive Thoughts Win. Well, they're really intrusive if I wanted it. Is it really intrusive if I wanted it? I let the impulsiveness win, though. Plot twist is literally insane and can't, but there's one character I think you love. Ooh! Ooh, say less. No, I've never even heard of it. My knuckles are beaten up. My knuckles. I just realized because of the camera how... Well, I'm just desaturated maybe in the camera. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, we're going to play more. Let's get into it. I'm sleepy. I had a coffee today though. Oh my gosh, is it really gonna be like this? I did a 20-minute bandwidth test. 20 minutes! And it's really gonna be crunchy today. Really? Really? As soon as I start officially stream? Okay, maybe it's just like dipping in and out. Before I start, I forgot to turn on captions last time. And, oh, yeah, it dips a little bit. I'll just leave that up. Oh well. It's dipping again. Herm. Is it my CPU? Huh. And the actual name is Zero Escape. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna look into it. Oh yeah, we're doing summation examination for the jury because they said guilty again. Which I'm like, okay, you'll need to chill out. Aren't you supposed to hear both sides before you do a jury? I thought. Maybe. So, consider the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman. I forgot his name is Foreman. We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. I suggest you Google the character lotus from the game when you want to Lotus from Zero Escape. Maybe that does sound familiar. Maybe. Maybe. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. There was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed. I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring him home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tidy bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. With one notable exception, of course. I need an HD picture of him, because everything online is very not HD. So. My learned student friend... I'm kind of scared to keep Googling him too because of spoilers. So I have to, and everything's in like the 3DS quality because like this game was originally for the 3DS, I think. So it's like crunchy. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene, and moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. That means, I'm afraid, that during this summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. How? What? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you'll need to provide. He's helping me? Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And there I was thinking this might be hard. Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it, otherwise this really will be where the trial ends. No pressure then. It's quite preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Yes, my lord. Alright, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. Clearly, the key to this summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid, or shall I say, Mrs. Garadeb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. So we have to find, using every technique I've learned in my short career so far, whatever it takes. It's also going to pop up at the top of my screen, but I don't know what it was. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Garadeb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Gotcha. Okay. He's a little silly goose. Hughes left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. Press. But as we know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's even a possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Doing a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said? That's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. Were they, though? I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's about done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty left to say. My freaking allergies are kind of whack. There was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed I might reconsider. I'm gonna press that. So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face, but I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? Not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that this man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. If only I could. Let's do our very best. Right. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime, can it? Hold it! And what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? Prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? You couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? Just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. Then what's the point in even having windows, huh? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering. I think they opened the window... They might have opened the window because of the smoke. You don't want to keep the smoke in the house. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. I can't present anything. Okay, let's keep pressing. Hold it! But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Miss Garda. Never you mind that. The point is we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Right, we'll see about that. What about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Miss Garrett relentless onslaughts. What a gentle soul he is. Almost as if he's used to it. Look, we're just gonna keep pressing that. Just want to get this over with. How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus isn't one to just mess about. You know, she can be fierce. Believe you. Believe me. Believe you? What? Another shining example of marital bliss. Situation like this cropped up the other day. It was very, Do you know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember. Sorry? It's too frightening. That's the thing. I must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scar. Don't even go there, Mrs. Otto. There must be some way to jog his memory. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago, gave me the sneezes. Hold it! Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry, what's that? You'll have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. Had 75 candles on the top it did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously. That's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong. Somehow the flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. Furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. How did you catch a cold from a fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, blessed them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it out. There is my key. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. Got a terrible cold from it. It put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship. Something about this old man's story is paying on my mind for some reason. I need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he or she could have done it. Once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you're going to need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yes, I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions, just a connection might do the trick. Alright, let's see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit! Okay, so I think we're gonna do hit him with the old man, I think. Yeah.
Objection.
These two jurors' statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly? Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me. What's you say? Speak up, lad. Speak up. Juror number 3, do you see... Me? See what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh! Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household, and Mr. Garadeb had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke. Hi, Random. How are you?
Oh, Mark.
We're gonna pursue her.
Excuse me.
Why are you freaking out? Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Hello, Mrs. Garadeb. Oh, dearie me. Did you like it? We went to the Mall of America the other day. It was pretty busy. And, maybe I could do a movie theater. Maybe I can. But I love eating popcorn and getting a little icy. I kind of want to go see it. I thought I could wait, maybe. I don't know. How much are movies these days? I remember when movies were like $7. They're not $7 anymore. Oh, dearie me. What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? Ooh, full second opinion. Ooh. I want some movie theater popcorn so bad. It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. Right, I never really go anymore because they're like stupid expensive nowadays. Like why? For why? Retweet. Like, how much does it cost now? I don't know, too damn much. Too damn much. It's not even the treats and stuff. It's literally the movie itself. To watch it in a theater is like fucking way more money now. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon. What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet in the bookcase caught fire, as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if I did? Okay. All right then, yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stopped throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You managed to establish that the window was open. We simply must have had that added to Miss Garrideb's formal statement. The window was open at the time. I clean forgotten, but it's true. Hi, Juju. How was your day going? How the victim was stabbed. Now that you mentioned the window was open at the time, I clean forgotten, but it's true. Yes. Okay, so now I guess we press her? So we already pit him and the old man together. The window could have been open. It's definitely a... We pit these two together? Because it's not a possibility anymore. It is open. So we put these two together? I'm gonna press just in case. At the point when the victim was attacked on Briar Road, we know there was a small house fire in the Garrideb household on the opposite side of the street. Well, yes, it certainly seems that way. And on account of smoke, I imagine they would have had the windows... Okay, yeah. We also know that Mrs. Garrideb was throwing flaming books at her husband. Her husband, who was backed into a corner by the window due to his wife's frenzied attack. That's right. So there's definitely a chance that one of the books could have flown past the man and out of the window. Only... What? Only I can't really see how it could have gone all the way over to the other side of the road. So I don't really see how I changed my decision, really. Oh, I see. That wasn't enough. What is it going to take to persuade these people? What is it going to take? Okay, so... When the woman was throwing books. I think I need to pit these two against... Oh no, I can't. Oh wait, yeah, I can. I think these two... I still have 5 oopsies, so we'll...
Objection.
Okay, now... These two clearly contradict each. What? Sorry, but as foreman, I have to object. That's complete nonsense. What? Okay, JK then. Wasn't that a contradiction? Am I crazy? I fear I'm watching Smosh Reddit reading videos, but we were dropping the lurk to support. Thank you, puppy. Have a good lurk. Okay, so... I'm thinking. I just got here, but I'm gonna leave and walk across the street to the mall to get a treat. Get a little treat, Juju. You deserve it. Get one. I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm a little stuck. I just want to get this over with. Okay. Let me press him again?
Hold it.
You just want to get this over with. How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future's at stake here. Well, him and me both then. Like I said before, what? Told you already, I'm a day laborer. If I don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce. A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, do you know what's funny, but I can't quite remember. It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out. When we go there, there must be some way to jog his memory. Do I pit him? Is it these two together? Okay. No, the music didn't stop.
Hold it.
Yeah. Fuck. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do here. Like, I can't present things. Do I look it up? I don't want to look it up, but I'm stuck. There's some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed. I might reconsider. The window was open at the time. I clean forgotten, but it's true. I guess we'll press it. I don't fucking know. Fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrett told us he had been reading. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw out your husband a copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. Okay. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoy reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on as well, so you know. I don't know. Barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it. There we go.
Excuse me.
There we go. What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I remember what it was. That memory I blocked out. Okay. I was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back. Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? And Mrs. Garradeb or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's because he's used to being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago. I just got back from home after work. Like, I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Oh. The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight, I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck it into the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep. There we go. Just terror. I could smell it, and then you know that god-awful stench of the Thames. Sure was gonna end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I could tell you. No, that's real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. There we go. You mustn't think that all women are short-tempered and unrefined, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people as well is so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. Attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later. Okay. We're going to pit him with...
Objection!
There we go. These two statements clearly have a deep, significant connection. You mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? What do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the fourth book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Gerdeb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Gerdeb household to the street below. What's that now? After all, Mrs. Gerdeb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? She called him a beanpole. Beginning to think that ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As the foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way to the house, but what was it? I'm taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I have any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain at the very least this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Gerdeb household to the scene of the crime was probably the knife.
Take that!
Juror number 4, Mrs. Gerdeb. What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before? Good Lord, counsel, what on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged into the victim's back, man. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Gerdeb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Gerdeb was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had been backed up against the window. A window that had been opened to clear the smoke and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Even my missus hasn't gotten a name like that. I admit there are many details we don't yet understand, but that's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right away. Oh my. Ah. Mrs. Gerdeb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife? She could lie. Oh, ah! Oh. My lord. I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam. I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman. I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny didn't mind. Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now. The little old man doesn't want to say not guilty. We did it. Congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. All I had to do was press one more again. So as a result of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. Two jurors called guilty against four not calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue. Now then, Lord Von Zieks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? I think I need to make him buffer in my drawing. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. What follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Von Zieks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond. Let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative position of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? It should already have been more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garredev household runs a rather wide street that is Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garredev's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards. 15 yards, 14 meters. And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, Bork's book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, a smoldering book wantonly hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. There's nothing I can say to that. Prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. I bet he does. Miss Susato, serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. My lord, might I be allowed to speak? As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead. Prosecution may consider the idea of fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garredev, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Saints alive, a cross-examination of a juror. Order, order, order. Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection.
And unnecessary. Lord Von Zieks. There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both the burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. We must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses? They didn't even see the person running away, though. Yes, sir. Constable Rolly B reporting for duty, sir. Well. Good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. They're so heroic, these London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rolly, my hero, you make me swoon. Very well, I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthright before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir. Alright. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrett house are top-hinged casements. Well, obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. I don't believe him. Top hinged casement windows. That means they open it this way? That detail's not in the police report, Constable. Ah, yes, I'm sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. Cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir. Sorry, but what exactly is a top-hinged casement window? And you cannot excuse your ignorance of such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course, sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garredeb's room. Alright, I'll try. So the windows open in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Gotcha. Swings open along the upper edge, you see. My mom called. Oh, no worries, Tim. We are looking at an alternative form of events that could have happened where the man and his wife might have been in their marital dispute because the place was on fire, had the windows open, and things were flying out the window and hit the woman that's not murdered but assaulted. I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature, it is stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. It prevents it opening. This is all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. It's just a jackknife, so it's like a pocket knife, right? No. You see the problem then? Good, your education in windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or knife traveling 15 yards over the road. Then how did it get in her hands? That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we've discounted already. Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong. I'm gonna kill myself, is what Ryunosuke's saying. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed. Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation. Oh, God. Constable Beats report. We're already fucked up twice. Okay.
Hold it!
Press every statement. How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it. To all of us policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. To patrol the streets of London town, uphold the peace of the common man. That's what the job's all about. That's why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you Bobby's good for his word. But rubbing my tired eyes immediately. Sah. I think he actually was asleep. Oh, Rolly, you're so manly. Of course, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. None of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garredeb? Oh, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier. Well, so could you answer that question? Absolutely, I will answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garredeb... dispute can't be related. Before I get into that, sir, just one thing. Very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard, so we would take back some tales of London, Bobbies, and how we uphold our guiding principles. I'm planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal, but I must warn you, you won't be able to get through without shedding a few tears. I'll try. Ooh. Alright, let's look at it. Item 1, a policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. Item 2, a patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of a community's relations. That's principles of policing, the Metropolitan Police Regulations. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Any crimes fall under I'm gonna press that. By which you mean they don't open fully, is that correct? Yes, they're just there to allow a bit of air through the house. You see, they're restricted by how much they open. Therefore, anything thrown out the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark them out. Here's the location where objects would have fallen. Yeah, you're a mathematician now, Van Zeeks. Directly opposite scene of crime. On the other side of the rather wide road. Would have been so hard for somebody to mention this top hinge casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garridub's house is furnished with? Well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Excuse me.
Why are you blushing? Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat? Oh, sorry. You look, well, delighted. Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky. Lucky? What do you mean? Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see. I hadn't realized. Oh yes, that street, Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. I don't know what a beat is. Isn't that right, my love? Constable Beat. Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with the interviewing the occupants of the Garridub household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see, sir? Let's come close then. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garridub household is on your beat, does that mean the pavement next to it is as well? Outside Mr. Garridub's house? Yes, Mom. Pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see, I was unaware of that. Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a Bobby, after all. Tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling? That must be Pat. Must be it, Pat. My love, that must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information on record. Mr. Nara, I'll take care of it immediately. Pavement where the victim was found lies just outside Constable's Beat's beat. Border which runs down the middle of Briar. Okay. Hmm. 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 Policemen will strive to preserve the peace within a patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Any crimes will fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. Crime is discovered on his beat. A policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. I feel like that's important, but I don't know how. Okay, we're gonna press some more. According to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark. But Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star. What? Star that will guide us to eternal happiness. Can it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star. If I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rolly be an inspector. I would have said 3 times at least. Oh my gosh, what did you get instead, Juju? What with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. And sure, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir, that is correct, sir. As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir. I didn't get anything, I just walked inside old Davy and came back. You should have got a little treat. I want an ice cream, like really bad. It seems like they're telling the truth. Then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her. Trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. You said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer, is that right? That's right, yes. If I had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat. So Rolly told me the way, only I sort of got a little lost on the way. My darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Brother. So I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. 15 minutes! But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby's never really off duty. They take my eye off the cream suit. Nothing strange to report on that pipe. Nothing to report. You didn't see no smoke in the air? It's correct, sir, and my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Swear to that on the odds honor, sir. Really? That seems strange. Beg your pardon, sir? Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Gyaradev household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Could it be different copies, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well? I'm gonna lose my mind. Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? So we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? Something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The 2 mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. Must be some common thread between them. Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Loy, sir? Sure, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. What? I wasn't really. I mean, what's she doing? Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. Oh, you can't see her. Damn it. You can kind of see her foot. She's being a little silly goose. This ribbon from yesterday. Charge my phone. Okay. Why is she looking at me? There she is. She doesn't want to be on camera, I guess. Just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am. I'm going to lose it. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses, I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you? Yes, Miss Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud mutter. I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't. Duly noted, Mr. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could you possibly be about to say, or whatever? I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Hold it!
Mrs. Beat, nobody's questioning what you told us. I saw it. I did that evening. I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene. I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. Very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction. Oh, yes, well, it's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
Excuse me.
Constable Beat, is there a problem? No, sir. No problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just not bring something to mind, perhaps? Well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? She said she got lost. Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box and the next beat over from mine. Sorry, I need a little bit of water. But she was gone a fair bit longer than I was expecting. 15 minutes. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, really? Such a tease. But the reason I was so long because of the bouquet, silly. Bouquet. What bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Really so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his round. How romantic. Forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling? Oh yeah. But that was just it between us. I'm not talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise. Really? Oh. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Miss Beat about the bouquet. Yep. Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please. Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. He's like, can we stop? What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right. I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. I was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on. And I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again, but the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all. You need reminding, Mrs. Beat. The victim is not deceased. I was all flustered for the moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Your husband, presumably. That's right, silly me. I'd gone over the wrong side of the street. Wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there. I really can't. So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Street to the other. Curious indeed. Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this? Oh! Yes, that's it! That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary with old bits of change he found in the gutter. May I just call it a rose? Tell us, Lord Van Zieks, where did you come by the flower? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Gerdev household. In front of the Geredebs, although it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the stream plants cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Could I have it back now, please? Not yet. I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence. Oh. President for Patricia Beat from her husband, Rolly. Shock of seeing the stab victim caused Mrs. Beat to drop the rose where she stood. But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back. Oh, good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget Mrs. Beat. Okay, so let's look at that. Okay. So we got 2 pieces of evidence and an updated piece of evidence. Okay, what can we look at? An English rose. It's such a beautiful flower. This is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before. They don't got roses in Japan? I guess they're not native to Japan, so I guess that makes sense. Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I know 3 types at least. 3? Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Perhaps you should consider branching out. Learning something that aren't fruit tree based works. Okay. That's weird because I know they have a word for it in Hanakatoba. I guess they just don't grow them as often? It's very stylish paper the flower is wrapped in, isn't it? It's just an old newspaper. I suppose it is because I'm not used to seeing English print. It looks so exotic to me. I see. Is something wrong? My piercing's itchy. Oh no, I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like a fancy cake. Right, it might have been harder to move plants and seeds and stuff across the ocean. Also, do roses like live in Japan's climate naturally kind of thing? I don't know actually what kind of weather roses grow best in. I've been looking at trying to plant like native container plants, and I have this planter garden thing, and I'm trying to think about doing something for the bees and the butterflies. So I'm trying to learn more about flowers. Japan's borders only have been open for like 20 years. That's really not a long time. Yeah, you can buy one nowadays. They have like the eternal roses and stuff in Japan too. I think also Ryunosuke is not cultured. I mean, because he isn't, right? It was a lot harder to learn about other cultures back then, I feel like, unless you had money, right? So he's not very cultured. Okay, what is important about this though? Just rose. And apparently there's a Japanese-American exchange program in 1870 that's kind of similar to the one in this game. Interesting. Wasn't there, like... That was around the same time that America did the China Exclusion Act, though, wasn't it? There was a lot of Asian racism in the late 1800s. Early 1900s, I mean, and also look what America did to Japan. When they picked 17-year-old Japanese girls to go to America and come back and help teach English and American culture. When they came back, they couldn't speak Japanese anymore. We're like, wait, Japan is also way more sexist. Oh, man. Because they got university education. Yeah. What is important about this rose, do you think? Its location is important. Shakusing. Because it was like found here, right? This is a hard one. This is a hard case. Relevant. Yeah, I'm having a hard time visualizing. Okay, so she just said, let me press it again. You mean you dropped a bouquet? Yes. When we ran over, I saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting a light, so I didn't notice. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on. Yes, I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again, but the funny thing is, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all. The victim is not dead. I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Your husband. That's right, I got over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm gonna blame the bouquet this time. I can think of how it got there. I really can't. How did the bouquet move from one side of Briar Road to the opposite? Do I press this again? I'm gonna press it again. Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. My eyes were wide open the entire and never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I swear to that on the yard's honor. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon? This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garadeb household, so the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? I think he was asleep, but I can't prove that. Could it be different copy style? One that just happened to be burnt? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see, she has a bag. Well, the book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. That's so. There's something about the statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread. Was she... Well, what do you make of all this? Yes, the whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me, but I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened. The fourth book had no business being at the scene of the crime. Made me sure that Mrs. Garrida was hiding something from us. It's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may be already armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, it's gonna expose the whole truth about this mysterious... Okay, I've already fucked up a few times on this trial. Did Olive... Okay, let me pull up... Did Olive... Was Olive here? And then she, like, stumbled and fell over here? Possibly? Why was the bouquet over here, though? Like, who's to say she actually got hurt right there? Why was the bouquet over there? See, the windows are on the top floor of the Caradeb house. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help. My dad jokes parties in less than an hour. I'll get my treat then. Okay, good. My trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way. I take my eye off the screen for the one moment. Nothing strange to report. Do I present the bouquet here? Is that where I... Because if he didn't take his eyes off the crime scene, then why did the bouquet... Why didn't he see the bouquet move? Sure. I get scared because my logic in my head makes sense, but it couldn't... It's like not the game's logic. That... Right? It seems reasonable. Okay.
Objection.
It stopped music. You claim, Constable B, there is nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene, but that cannot be. I know, I get nervous. So, when the music doesn't stop, I'm like, fuck. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. B, you explained to the court that when you arrived back to the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection.
It's classic Ace Attorney player fear. On the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. Okay, but considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Oh my god, meager.
Objection.
Be nice. But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to that fact? No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on the Scotland Yard's honor. The bouquet belonged to me, it has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. I didn't get to that conclusion, but we'll go with it. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mr. Mrs. Beats, Mr. Beast, Mrs. Beats' bouquet, there's Mr. Garrideb's book. Mr. Garrideb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife. Would have stuck the pane of the casement window and landed on the west side of the street. And yet... Did I said that, didn't I? I kind of said that. I said she could have been hurt on the other side of the street. Actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beats' bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime. But in fact, it was on that side. It's actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them. I didn't get there. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says? Wittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh god, Mrs. Garrideb's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrideb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called... tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Man who knows law. Tampering. Look, he might have known the word in Japanese. I'll excuse it. I'll excuse it. Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us. Tell us. My chest hurts really bad. I had raviolis though. That's probably why. My learned friend, who could have possibly had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? There is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Fuck if I know. I didn't even get here. My reasoning was just like, why? I didn't get to the how or who. Substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? It's gotta be one of the Garadebs, right? Iris did it. What is she, why is she part of this? I guess, I don't know. It's probably Mrs. Garadeb, right? Oh, they just put people there. That would make sense. It's gotta be her, because if she knew she hurt someone... I saved.
Take that!
No, 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 no. There's only one person who could have done this. I was just taking a moment to get things straight in my mind. Okay. Rolly says he didn't see any— oh. Why would he tamper with it? Why would he do that though?
Take that!
Okay, there we go. Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Well, I was also thinking he could have fallen asleep in that 15 minutes because this bitch always be sleeping. So. Constable Rolly beat. It was you. He was feeling silly. A policeman, remember? He didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to deal with it? Is that literally it? Like, he wanted to put it on the other side of the fucking street so he didn't have to deal with it? Oh my god. I would have gotten there. Obviously, I would have gotten there. I don't trust what a policeman says, so that's why I didn't— seeing nothing. What nonsense? Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
He ran off, remember? Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. B, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well.
Objection!
First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. Yeah. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with, but there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. I hate landlords and cops. I don't believe any of them. That's why it's taken me so long to get here. My husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive. Let me give you a motive until you do. Your accusations are nothing but empty threats. That's the key to this entire— Mr. No, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you're mistaken, I'm sure I'll not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. It's in the police code? I think where the victim fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road, we saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. No, you're stupid. You don't know your directions. It's certainly what everybody has been led to believe, but in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, Minnie Binning's friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? Here? If I swear to God, if I fuck this up, I'm restarting where I last saved.
Take that!
But that's on the opposite side of the road. I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garrett's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. This lady threw a knife at her husband. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious. We're taking forever to get there. We are taking forever to get there. Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening, already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim, the books. He moved everything back to the pavement on the east side of the road. That's why Natsume's books are over there. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing. What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. Prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Vanzig says it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Couldn't have been seen in the dark, obviously, which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement of the west side of the road. Does it not get windy in London, though? And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? We didn't give them motive, though. Constable, I guess it just rains. Really. It's fucking windy here. The trees are like, woo, outside. I can't stand this man. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Can you shut the fuck up? Did I miss anything important? Slap him, please. Someone slap this bitch. Isn't it true? Is it what the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything came out, everything exposed. This is for real? Only, it seems, it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Ryunosuke is such baby girl. He is so precious. Or da, or da, or da. What on earth is the meaning of all this? Well, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like that? Moving a corpse is it wasn't a corpse. She's alive. Wishing the victim dead should be one too. How is there no blood? Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town. I can't say, sir. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. Damaging the Yard's reputation for everything. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, I need my lip gloss. My lips are so dry, so I'll be right back. Told you I'd be right back. I have my lip stain, but I don't have my lip gloss. My lips are so dry. Okay. Alright. Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. Because he didn't want to fucking do his work. He didn't want to do his job. You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman? I'm not stupid, Lord Van Zeeks. As this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far, I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you better show us some evidence. Okay, at once. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. It's the warrant card. We'll go ahead and read it because it sometimes makes you say which one. Policeman will strive to preserve the peace. Expect to walk 20 miles. Perhaps one of the beat in which they are discovered. Item number 1 under Metropolitan Police Regulations.
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that through honorable patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on its beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh yes, it was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife. God damn, how much is a rose? I bet they were really expensive back then. Looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? I have to do my work. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Okay, we get it, we get it. This is the warrant cord that Constable Beat offered to Lin me earlier. Inside among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. I didn't have to pinpoint it. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh. Exactly. Summarize. The incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. I've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mearstrom Street and then... I'm so dumb. Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't feel pity for this man. I do not feel pity. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't pity him. You sign up to be a police officer. You sign up knowing that sometimes your job fucking sucks. So, I don't feel... You're making a flipping burgers argument. I don't feel bad for him because you tampered with the evidence of a crime scene. There's a difference there. If it was like something minuscule, maybe I wouldn't care, but it's literally this woman almost died. And we could have sent we being racist to a man acting like he was the murderer. That's why I don't feel bad. He hasn't slept in months. He should have he should sleep. I don't know. I also was gonna make the argument that he didn't see anything happen because he was sleeping. So either way, he's pitiful. How was he to know that he committed a crime? I could see that. Because it's probably not knowledgeable to not mess with the scene of a crime. But they don't do good work. I think that is... I still don't really feel bad for him, though. Because I don't feel bad for a cop. I never feel bad for a cop. Even if it's even more so than a fantasy one. As also someone like, because I'm in a long-term relationship and I understand because my fiance is in a job that could call like necessary, like you need people to work on a day that they don't have to because it's sometimes in emergencies or whatever. I would get it, but also I know not all people are like that. Like but at the same time I think she would have been like, you have a attempted murder case on her anniversary, how cool, because she's a weirdo. She's a weirdo. Susanna feels bad. Me and Renosuke though, we're like, no. I think his wife would get it, but I also sympathize with him being like, can I put on someone else this one time? Why can't... I don't know. You came across the scene of the crime, though, as a cop. I don't know. I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner. See, I also thought they were on their way back from dinner, but I guess it was like 5. Oh, Rolly. Just that one night. The judge is gonna be like, stop. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. I think his wife... Oh, I already read that. You decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction, just across the street, to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring Beats care. He also made his wife feel stupid. Directionally stupid. You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. Beg your pardon? I feel like that makes it worse! That makes it worse! Of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement. I see your meaning now. But God got me back from my sins, didn't he? Yeah, he sure did, didn't he? That's why. That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should have never dropped it in such a dark place. I want to slap both of these people so bad. This is giving, like, cop marries mean nurse. This is very this. And then they're like, boo-hoo, oh me. I'm gonna slap both of them. I've met a lot of mean nurses, Juju Puff. Mean nurses who are dating or married to cops. This is the average West Virginia couple, for real. It's very like, it's just not good. This is not good. And can you tell us, Constable? They almost got a Japanese man murdered for no reason. How many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total? 4 it was. Yes, sir, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course. I know. How do you? Okay, that's also. How do you not see smoke coming out of the house? Though. Like, they didn't see that and thought, that's concerning. What made you place? They were on the 3rd floor. Oh, they're on the 3rd floor. I don't know. I've lived in apartments with 3rd floors. It's not that high up if you're walking by. Susato is a very pretty girl. What made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh. That wasn't him talking. Well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. She picked it up. How you found it? What do you mean? I literally said, what if she got hurt and attacked on the other side of the road and then someone moved her? I literally said that. Did I not? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. She bent over, picked the book up, and then fucking got a knife lodged in her fucking back. That fucking sucks, dude. When I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. Sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding. Yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. The victim's hand when Mrs. Beat first ran over to see what happened. What, we're still going? We're still going? I thought that was an open and shut case at the time. You see, there were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. Yeah, it does have the burn mark on it, yeah. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I don't really feel bad for him, but I guess. His assumption makes sense, but I don't feel bad for him. I suppose. I feel like if you were a cop, but then again, cops don't know their own fucking laws, so never mind. They do not know their own laws. I've had it. Definitely stupid. He's got to be like 18 to 20, yeah. Well, it probably says, actually. 23 and 21. I don't know. How long has he been a cop? It's not like he did the murdering, but he definitely kind of fucked Natsume here. Oh, I didn't read that. It's fine. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. What is it like to be a police officer in Britain in those times, though? Because I know modern day American police officers are based off of slave catchers. I don't know about Britain. For context, I'm 20. Oh my god, Tim. Earlier, someone in another Discord says something like back in 2014, and I was like, I graduated in 2014. I don't know what the cops are in Britain. I was like, I've almost been graduated from high school for 10 years. That is insane to me. And then I saw on TikTok like a video that was like high school in 20, I don't remember, it was like 2013. It was high school back when I was in high school. And I was like, it wasn't that long ago, was it? Was it? But I will say my high school experience probably is very different than my sister's high school experience. Because my sister was a freshman when I was a senior. I graduated in 2020. Oh man, not the 2020 graduate. That fucking sucks. But turning 21 this year is very exciting. Constable, you may withdraw. I think you're gonna lose your job. You might need to look into another job. Mr. Prosecutor, do you go to jail for tampering with the crime scene, right? It's like police in England just kind of started as like groups of guards and naturally developed into a more formal force. See, I could believe, I believe, I mean, of course I believe that. It's history. I just didn't know, actually. Police started in like early 1800s there. Interesting, because our police force started way later, I think. Probably someone looked at Great Britain's police force in combination when the slaves became free. And like kind of merged the two. I could believe that. I don't know. It's funny because one of the few schools that had in-person graduations on the school's football field where we literally had a hurricane hit us in the middle of the ceremony. I am so sorry, Tim. That's like extra layers to a shitty year, huh? A really shitty year, huh? Damn. I can't imagine having school in the pandemic. I know a lot of y'all youngins did. I just can't imagine it. That's like sucks. I think I would have lost my mind. I lost my mind without being in school. Mr. Prosecutor, sir, what will become my rollie? What will happen to him? For now, you're free to go home. The police will contact you in due course. I do think the pandemic never happened. I would have never picked up streaming. I think I would have still been in retail. I am kind of going through this like thing where I'm like, maybe I should go back into retail, but I'm like trying not to. I'm trying not to. There's also a double rainbow. Oh, that's kind of cute. I don't remember my high school graduation. I don't remember it at all. And I didn't get a college graduation because they got rid of fall graduations the year I was graduating in the fall. And they're like, you can either graduate early in the spring or next spring. And I was like, when that spring happened, I wasn't even sure I was going to pass my classes. And it was like a 6-hour course that I wasn't sure I was going to pass. So I didn't want to do that. And then I didn't want to go back to school to graduate, like walk the stage. So I was like, I didn't even have a college graduation. I had my degree, but I didn't walk the stage or anything, or any pictures. Looking up, an American police in the South did start as slave catchers, and then around the 1830s, they started formalizing police forces according to the British example. But in the South, those slave catchers weren't official police forces like community. Ugh. Sounds like it was mainly in the Carolinas. Ugh. 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 Icky. America's history is kind of icky, isn't it? So is Britain's history, let's be real. Britain fucking colonized most of the world. Please don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. How is it your fault, girlie? Stop it. Slap her. Slap her. Snap out of it. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Slap her. Get yourself together, girlie. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I don't think you're going home, sir. All right then, my love. One last thing, Constable. That was not Van Zieg's voice, by the way. Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson in your mind. He doesn't lose his job. Shit, you can murder someone, you don't lose your job. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Never again, Sal. You mean to say... Leave now. The trial is not yet over. The trial is not yet over. What else do we have? Sa. Is this like trial part 3? Can I finish part 3 today? Well, quite a startling revelation. We gotta kill Miss Garrett. I see. That's an accidental. There's so many accidental murders in this game. What the fuck? Quite a startling revelation, I must say. However, thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? Whoever thought? Me, bitch. I thought that. Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Sazeki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly... What does he mean by that?
Objection.
Okay, I was like... No, I disagree. I do disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already. Lord Von Zeeks, is this true? Yes. Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. Prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. Should I do? I already solved it. I swear this is not how it ends, though. Mrs. Garrett.
Take that!
Defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again. My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case. She's trying to get the book back. I don't think she... I think she threw the knife downstairs. Maybe? I mean, I guess we'll find out. She's definitely seen the knife before. Oh, dear me. I think she was just I think she threw it out the window. That request has already been denied. Sir,
Objection.
as you know, situation as they established in this court of law, yes, they have said women can throw shit. Like no shit. Situation is very different now. Mrs. Garateb, answer me this. And not beating the hysteria allegations, especially in this time period. Whoo, whoo. Sorry, if I keep smacking my mic and you hear it, I'm so sorry. What do you want now, you little toad? You calling me a toad? At the time of the incident,
For
you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. I forget I have to press A. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window. Ghetto. Have y'all ever seen Sergeant Frog? Opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. I fucking love Sergeant Frog. Well, what of it? You threw. I used to do that one ending dance. We should make it a TikTok dance. We should go viral for it. I've never seen it, but used to watch the ending song a lot. It's so good. I like the navy blue frog. I kind of forgot all the names. It's been a decade. It's been over a decade since I've seen it, but we definitely brought back Carmel dancing. Ooh, 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 wow. Sir, I'm going to pick you up. I'm gonna pick you up right now, sir. Oh, he left. Hobart was pawing my chair. You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. On striking the pane of the open top hinged casement, the book plummeted directly down. I think we're jumping to conclusions. Finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. I can't say any of those words. Let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garridev. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you never laid eyes on it before? It has a blunt end, so something also happened. I don't recall it. Really? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury needed to testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection.
No, I have no recollection of saying that all juror number 4. Oh, okay. Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. He says, I want to know who fucking harmed this woman. And do you know something about this knife, madam? Let the truth come out. But that's just... I do love his gay little pointing finger. That's just a common or garden knife. Common or garden knife. Could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying, please, Miss Garridev? Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I had injured someone. Do you hear me? I couldn't bear it. Just an everyday. Just an everyday. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. Your fucking book! You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have already thrown it at her. Then take the stand, juror. Oh. The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4, as I'm sure you appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today, witness testimony could lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. He's so nice. We're already fixing him. You see? We're already fixing him. Oh, dearie me. So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garridev. I mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Is this a break? This is such a strange feeling. For the first time arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey and I'm a lawyer. Look at him. Look at him. Witness, state your name and occupation. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garridev and I'm, well, I'm a juror and such like. I'm going to lose my mind. Sounds like she doesn't even know she's a housewife or maid. The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam? What song is this? Yeah, is this I don't remember the song. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. I wish they somehow implemented a skins feature to all the characters. Beach skin win. They have outfits. They have alternative outfits, supposedly. Do not attempt to hide the truth, which we'll do the alternative outfits the next game. Oh dearie me. Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. What the hell are you doing here? I didn't know you were here, John. Suzato, Ryu, and Herlock have second outfits for the Switch version. Oh, he doesn't? He doesn't have a second little outfit? Damn it. Wasn't only in the room that day, old thing, wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you? But what about your knee, dear? Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. Presume you are Mr. John Gerdem. They did design for Van Zeeks and Iris, but they didn't get implemented. What the heck? I'm guessing episode 5 is really long. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers? Sir, seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. A quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes, but quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once. Is Chloe breathing near me? Oh, she sure is. She's right here. You breathing? Sir, are you here, sir? Here, let me press A so there's music. Doesn't want me to pick him up today. Hover says, no! No! Chloe doesn't want to stand today. Very nice of him to come and support his wife. His mean, awful wife. She thought he was cheating on him, but she didn't really, like, rationalize any of it, did she? Just kind of jumped to conclusions. Excuse me. On the day you're referring to the... Oh, yes. On the day you're referring to the wife, and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around the place. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. That bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have a job proving it, I think. Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choices but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may have not been able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be dead end. Van Zeeks may well be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth. Yes, I'm afraid so. Let's get started. What do we got? Okay, let's press everything, because we might get more evidence. On the day you're referring to, wife and I did have a... Can't recall the reason. I know the reason. The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Gerdeb. Rather passionate note, in fact. When Mr. Gerdeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret, she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. What sort of state of affairs? Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway. A likely story. Oh, Bart. He just... You know how, like, when cats do the... on stuff? He just did that to my leg. Oh, Bart. What do you want? What? I fed him today. Is this what you want? Hey, is this what you want? He wants a treat, I think. Okay, come over here. Chloe, do you want something? You're still on it, buddy. Chloe, do you want a treat? You smell funky. Your dog's like it. This man is whimpering. Okay. Chloe. Oh fuck! You dropped it. Here you go. Okay. A likely story. Can I pursue him? These waters run very deep. And what transpired next? Knocked over a candlestick over and set a fire to the carpet. Soon had it out and got the window open.
Hold it!
Hold it! And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? Bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine really. Just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. When was plumbing a thing? Most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected. Okay, I guess they had plumbing. I have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. Not every house. The rich people definitely have plumbing, right? But not kitchen plumbing. Gotcha. Lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the state of the man? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Okay. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire. Oh, I can pursue anytime. Interesting. I didn't know that. As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true of a Suzato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo. How did you know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day? Why would they just admit to it? In all honesty, I don't recall, but I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, towel, a sponge.
Excuse me.
They make it really obvious when you need to press A, though. Do you have something to add, sir? Probably because of Apollo Justice, it's really fucking silly. Mr. Garrett. Eh? Don't shoot. Ah, sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Have fun at Dad Jokes Party, Juju. Thank you for stopping by. Nothing of any significance, no. Just that barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction. But some are more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker seem to recall. Owie. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every volley. Good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law. Oh dear me, ever so sorry, dear. What's she even doing with a teapot? Good question. Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously. I'll take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened? Your pipe, sir. Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles. She did, yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see, your pipe was broken. It would have never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I managed to bandage the thing up for now. Ah, you're one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account. It could be important. Vince believes Mr. Garrideb's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
Why? This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentiments and wisdom perhaps were hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed, common sense one might say. Mighty one. In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh dear me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. Oh my gosh. Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. Okay. Oh, wait, we got a turn. Yes, I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh no, it's fine. There's some new evidence to work with. Okay. Okay. Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there. Is that the tip of the knife? Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What is this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It's like the tip of a blade or something. Tip of a blade. Surely it couldn't be. Knife smoke. Yeah, don't breathe that. Hi, Hoffer. He's been drinking knife or smoking knife smoke. Looks to be in sorry state with that bandage, doesn't it? But for some reason it feels slightly ominous. Okay, so there's a small nick out of the bowl here. Look, it appears to have been made relatively recently. Me on knife smoke. Yeah, they're a little it probably is lead too or something. You know it is. Everyone's got lead poisoning. You're right. It seems to me recently that being well loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. Okay. And then we look at this. It's blunt. Oh, look here, mister. Just at the tip, a small piece of blade appears to be missing. Part of it's missing. I could be wrong, but I just got a feeling you remember this. That's the tiny fragment of metal that we found inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. Yes, and just maybe... Oh my, it's a perfect fit. Somehow, I just knew it. Okay, so... I'm gonna press this, but I think I present the knife to this. Would you care to elaborate? Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see. Pipes and whatnot, fishing tackle, you know the sort of thing. It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets too, and there's my leather work. Sorry to say we're always losing knives about the place, so we have dozens of the things. They sell them at the market sometimes. 20 for the price of 19, needless to say I snap them up. Dawn prefers to use 2 knives at meal times too, instead of a knife and fork. Now, we don't want people thinking of some... I'm going to lose it. Much as because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim. Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still. Go on with your testimony. Sir. I think we present here. Let me press one more time. Actually. So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife unless we can produce proof. And even though there's no other credible possibility of Mr. Natsume is innocent. You forget, my Nipponese friend, that it has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. If only there was some way to know who had handled the knife, but I suppose wizardry like that is just a dream. You mean it's not a dream? Wonder if people touch anything, we leave behind unique patterns from the skinners, so they say, but I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice. Yes, I believe we're rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation. For now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion that this knife found in the victim's back was originally Mr. and Mrs. Garridub's house. Only could transplant this whole incident to several years in the future. Okay, so definitely that's the extent of the testimony. What do you think? Well, I think we've heard all this before. I can't say I'm partially confident. I know what to do. I know what to do. Down this can be at the scene of the incident. I know. I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that in fact a knife belonging to one of them caused the victim's injury. I'd be like, this knife and this piece found in the pipe. Boop. Okay, that's what I would do. Okay, so it was the last statement. Large folding knife, the tip of which is broken off and was found inside Mr. Garridub's pipe bowl.
Objection!
Fuck! 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 What? Where does it want me to present that? Oh, fuck. Okay, so is it the tip? If it's not, we'll just force close. I guess we'll present that with the tip.
Objection!
I was backwards, I guess. Whatever. Mr. Garridub, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please? It literally said each of the pieces. You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't. You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggled to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Was dyslexia? Like, did they have a name for dyslexia back then? Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every word. It must be very dizzy. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. This game came after, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I should have been able to present either pieces of evidence once linking them together. I'm just saying. Almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? In the pipe. That was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garridub's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, they make a perfect fit. I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case. Oh, she's standing on a box. Me. You appear rather confident in the extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of the entire case?
Take that!
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you'll see that there's a small piece of the tip of the blade that is missing. Common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. What of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection.
No. That's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. Good grief, Lord Van Zeeks. Let me look at him. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good. Good golly gosh. I just needed one look. Order. Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. What do you mean by a miracle? A miracle. So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he? Council, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is, when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles. She did, yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dearie me. During the argument between the two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb instead of striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord. Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1. And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh. Oh no. Yeah.
Objection.
Where did you get that? I just want you to drink it without throwing it. A full body theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points possibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a theory. A game theory! The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... It is spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable... Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her... Ah! That's right, you silly little man. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. And the knife that struck her had fallen from above. I literally said she was picking up the book and she got stabbed. I literally said that. I literally said that. There's no possible way it could have planted itself in the victim's back. He's still wearing his burnt clothes. Order! Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head. Well... Unless... Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out! It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. That's a good face. That is a good face. We were so close I could see the truth. We are- hear me out. Sure, we were on the right track, but now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand. She's so right, Mrs. Otto. You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is the court record. I'm sure there's layers to that link. I am sure there's a lot of layers to that clip. I think Twitch clips are approved, I think. They are whitelisted. I don't remember what clips I have approved, but I'm sure there's layers to that clip. The key to this is the court record. I'm sure all the information you need is there. Seems you have nothing to say, mini Beneath friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit? Tacit? I've never seen that word. Acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. It's a two-parter.
Objection.
A double whammy. Wait, that was me. I said objection. Consistency doesn't mean I was wrong. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. And what are you implying, counsel? There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. Explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. I already have the answer. It just like... It stabbed her, like knocked her stone cold. Maybe I don't know how stabbings work, though. I already have the answer. Goodness. Madness. Surely, this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. We're gonna save because, I keep fucking up. So... Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is the book. It has to be.
Take that!
This fourth book found at the scene is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. Ooh, the song! The burnt book? Is that not Mr. Garedeb's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Quite so, as part of this wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true. However, as part of this testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. What made you place that book in the victim's hand? Well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd been doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? Well, she was bent over. By Jingo. Oh, I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh dear me. We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Gyaradepp household onto the pavement below, at precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, exactly at that moment, a young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, and when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw. Yes, Mrs. Gyaradepp, and what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you're walking along, suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down. Oh, and picked the book up. I'm back. I got a strawberry cupcake. Did you have a good dad joke? Ooh, I want strawberry cupcakes. Think maybe I'll ask Jeremy to pick me up some sweets. The woman, in fact, did. She picked up the book. I had Chipotle the other day, though, so I shouldn't probably have Chipotle again. I had it recently enough that I think I still have leftovers in the fridge. I don't really like Chipotle's leftovers sometimes. I hate when lettuce is leftovers. Also, Juju, you should watch the clip up above if you're able to. I used reference about the Roman numerals. I didn't win, though. There were some good ones. Oh, man. Oh, heavens. And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, this is a lot of dialogue for something I already theorized. What position would her back have been in? That fucking sucks. Facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. She's so cute. In the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over, picking up the book. And it knocked her ass out? Oh, it might have hit her spine. Next object fell from the remove above the jackknife straight into the middle of her back. I guess if it hit her spine. At that time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green was the defendant, Mr. Saseki Natsume. Well, I never. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor, in the dark and in the fog. Oh. That button. In the dark and the fog. He didn't see the knife falling on her from above. And from the other direction. His mouth is large here. Very large, right? The constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. There never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No. This was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. Why do we keep getting involved in unfortunate accidents? Even though I'm pretty sure... I was gonna call him Mr. McGriddle. That is not his name. But Mr. McGriddle probably killed that man. Because I don't know who else would have. I don't remember his name. That is the real truth behind this case. Look, that's me. That's me. This hand. This hand. That's me. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Gyaradepp. The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. Yeah, no shit. I wonder if perhaps there might have been something like that. There, old bean. Or Mrs. Gyaradepp. I feel bad that someone was involved in their marital problems. But that kind of fucking sucks for Olive here. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but that's why you don't fucking hurt people, ma'am. It's all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John dear. It's alright, I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. Damn, she's gonna faint again. He caught her. His poor knee. I think it's kind of realistic that when you're in an abusive relationship, you don't get put into perspective until someone outside it gets hurt. That is very true. That is so true. Lord Von Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Gerda? She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There's no cause for concern. Would she get, like, charged with manslaughter? Unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have... Well, she didn't die. She just got hurt really bad. Easily been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. There's some good news, however, my lord. I have just word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. She is improving, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we never once met her. How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems. I gave Susanoo a British accent. Yes, that is good news. I guess that's canon, but... So Mr. Saseki Natsume... Yeah! On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with an immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. I do think it's kind of funny that he ran off instead of trying to, like, see why she would have fainted. I do think that's kind of funny. But, you know, I don't blame him because I probably would panic too and probably fuck up. But, and run away too. But, like, he really didn't check on her or anything. He said, ah! And ran. The trees are blowing like crazy. I don't think there's supposed to be a storm. What was his name? What was Mr. McGriddle's name? What was his name? I forgot. I want to McGriddle now. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. What? That evening when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead. Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed. Well, she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Poor Saseki-san, his imagination really has got the better of him. He's going crazy! Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. The fog spirits! Trigger warning, but why are we still posting vids of people? People are what? I hope I don't see that. I hope I don't see that. Say that word out loud, Juju, and it might, it'll make sense. I really hope I don't see that, because I know Twitter's been weird about putting shit on my timeline when I don't want it to be, so I really hope I don't see that. I will spiral. Should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. I kind of agree, but I get when you panic, you don't think about those things. Yeah, this girl filming herself and then a man behind her jumps from... Okay, so I will be skipping that video. Okay. Thank you for the heads up. That's wild. That fucking sucks. Why did she even post that? So I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires, and for that I am truly sorry. Wait, why is Mr. Garrett up in the chair? One could indeed say that some sort Yeah, I'm kind of good. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. Oh man. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. Thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both. Oh. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes. And concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Waiting for the old bean while she's out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time. I'll say I have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? You weren't even paying attention, man. You can't even hear us. Twitter has just been weird for me. That algorithm keeps showing me things I don't want to see. Like, it keeps showing me like transphobia and shit like that. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to. I know we kind of need to be aware of it, sorta, because like, I don't know, it just sucks. Gotta be aware of the bad things so you know it's bad. It sucks. So I have a quirk of a story. I already read that. Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
That's his voice?
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Garrett's profile says he's 46. Why does he look like an 80-year-old man? Is that mean? What? Ooh, and fireworks? We're just begging for places to burn down in here, huh? The war, I believe that. I believe that. My grandpa served in the military and was in combat, yes. And when he looked very old very quickly. And watch something else lights on fire the next chapter, next episode. You're now a free man once more. I didn't even read that. It's my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. He's like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here. May you never again be brought before me. Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. He's gonna be in the jury. Transported to Tears. He's gonna be in the jury next case. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. Oh yeah, there's like fire behind him, fireworks. They said, oh, we got fireworks from China. Let's use it anywhere we can. It's only 3 o'clock. I feel like I've done this case forever. Oh, locum. Finally. Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another locum here? Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What is that? Yeah, what is that? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last. I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah! Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard to just say that then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink. Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, 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 not that! Lovely, loyal, locum lawyer. Yes? Why does the McDonald's have all-day breakfast? I want a fucking McMuffin now. I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners, I see towering brick buildings, and from high up windows, I see them looking down on me laughing. Look at that little hunchback. You want a Mr. McGriddle? I do want a Mr. McGriddle. Dear, I'm sure it's on your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm. Is he hunchback? Is he really? Because he's always whimpering. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!" Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. Ah. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Hi, Ina. We're finishing the case up. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you. She's still simping for this man? I see. I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster had been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh? The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo. I wish you the very best of luck. What? It just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain. Arg! It's you! Herlock Sholmes. She never stops. She is a simp. Have we met, sir? I've been playing with this ribbon all day. I'm hydrating. This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Hold on. More treats? He has ripped up this bed. The Japanese guy reminds me of Edgar Allan Poe. He's like the Japanese Edgar Allan Poe from what I understand. Isn't he? He's a poet, right? Am I crazy? I don't know, like, what he's written, though. But I don't know if it looks like him either. I don't think they can make him look like him. I am a cat. Is that why he has a cute little kitty cat? Did I give that? I thought I gave it to you. I gave her the treats. I think I did. Ah, I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of you bleak lodgings or that prison cell. Oh, his family gave Capcom full permission to do whatever they wanted. Wow. But Herlock Sholmes was the problem. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. How would you, what is the stressor there? Herlock Sholmes, you're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, aren't you not? Arthur Conan Doyle's family is very money hungry. They specifically were claiming copyright on an indie depiction of Sherlock where he had extreme emotions. Gotcha. This wacky Sherlock wouldn't be allowed. Gotcha. That makes sense. Had she been taken to the hospital more? Why did they just like... I guess they did. They named him Herlock Sholmes and Iris Wilson. But like, why didn't they just do that originally? Like, we all know like things that are inspired by Sherlock. Like in The Great Mouse Detective. I feel like that's a perfect example. She'd been taken to hospital more urgently. She probably would be awake. I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. Don't place that blame on him. It was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone who would have been shaken by such an experience. In Japanese, they wanted to be like Iris actually wrote the Sherlock Holmes book, like they're writing fan fiction, where Arthur Conan Doyle was a little girl. Ah, I see. Well, I guess it does kind of complicate things there. Be a really weird layer of reference. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind now then. What was it you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not pretending to laugh. I can't do it. I'm sorry, really, but that was quite priceless. Or Suzeki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty. But there's no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits. And now by the Reaper. Oh, that is true. Lord Van Zeeks, I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you found me not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hiya! Ma'am, the perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato. I know, he's like freaking out. Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh. He's like, I've had enough. It's already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. That's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to skip the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's not it at all. The more I learn of literature, the more the strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. I see. A work of literature by Suzeki-san could be an interesting read. You know what? It would be an interesting read, wouldn't it, Ryunosuke? And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? What about us? Will you return to Japan along your mustached compatriot? We've only been here for like 4 days. Why would we? A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet. And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us. I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted. Well then, you could take my lodgings. The windowless room. But what it lacks in windows, it's more than makes up for with the floor, a ceiling, and walls. Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit. Oh my, the evil spirit. Oh yes, it's trying to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. It's your cat. We'll think about it, if that's all right. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? And they were roommates. His cat is haunting him. I believe it. Hobart is the reason I didn't sleep well last night. Well, A vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Oh my god, they were roommates. Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? Spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of. Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. Girly. 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 She is a white man simp. I'm too overcome for words. Suggesting we look elsewhere out then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist. I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes. Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long. Somebody's happy. Yeah, I wonder why. Just rooming up with my crush. Woo! Locum. I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likely, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you two. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. I can't wait to see the meme fan art of this stupid game. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. That sounds like where Sholmes originates from. It's our house? The next day, I think? We got a little fireplace. So this is to be our new office. Yes, office. I rather like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? New outfit? New outfit? Mr. Sholmes, yes. Thank you so much. He looks like he's like... His indoors outfit. Oh, it's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Maybe he needs to be put in a slutty little bunny suit, too. I'm thinking. Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are welcome you. Oh, she's so cute. Hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. All right then, Susie, you can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. What do I want for dinner? I don't really feel like cooking. Should I put him in a slutty little outfit? Should we put all the men in a slutty little outfit? I feel like we should. Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel? I can't wait for Joe to draw these characters in slutty little outfits. I can't wait. To have your own office in the capital. It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wonder what adventures await us. Don't laugh at me. Those are precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights... Front on Holmes cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies beneath London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London. This is Sussy. What is gonna happen? Of course, at that time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke, but it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay beneath it, behind it. End. Yippee! We got landed in a London awarded. Save. London moment. Yeah, return to title screen. Yippee! Wait, I want to see the little outfits. Let me see them. I don't know what to eat for dinner. Taylor. Oh, I've seen this one. This is cute. Oh, we can only do it in Grace Ace Attorney anyways. 2. There's a mouse? Shut up. What is the mouse there? This is a good little outfit. Ryunosuke also deserves to be in a gay little slutty outfit. Stop! That is so cute! The heart bag? Stop! Oh, she thinks I'm yelling at her. Titties. 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 Anime titties. Can I look at things? Am I allowed to?
Objection! Hold it! I'm sure everyone knows by now who it is.
Okay, don't. Don't look at things. Don't go too far. I won't. But I want to. But I want to. I want to. Okay, let's see. I'm starving, my dudes. Shall we raid someone? Is anyone even live? We could raid Sarah. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna raid Sarah. Thank y'all. We'll start episode 5 tomorrow. Methinks that's tomorrow's plan. I almost didn't stream today. We'll see. There's my commissions in my shop if you want to check that out. And my social medias if you want to check all that out. And then Discord also. So if you don't like have social media, there's Discord to get notified. Let's go raid Sarah, shall we? Raid Sarah Moon. She's playing Minecraft. I'm going to mute that so you don't hear double. And we're gonna go say hi. Y'all know the drill. Little gremlin action. Little gremlin action. What the hell is this ad? That is a bug. That is a nasty little bug on this ad. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow around the same time, 4 o'clock. I'm gonna go figure out what to eat for dinner. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.